Now from Litepanels, we have Alan Ipakchian is going to tell us about some new lights from Litepanels, including a sneak peek that nobody's ever seen before. Tell us about these lights.
Thank you. Hey everyone, welcome. Appreciate you guys having us out here. It's always a great event to be at, and you get to meet up with a bunch of old friends, and it's always a great time. So as Jim mentioned, we are going to be sneak peeking a new light that we are going to announce early next week. And we're going to be announcing it at the BVE show, which is in London. But this seems suitable to share with our friends here. So we're expanding on the Astra line. And if you're unfamiliar, the Astra is the next generation 1x1 that we helped introduce a couple years ago, which is basically a refresh of the original 1x1 we introduced many years ago. So it's incorporating new LED technology. It's surface mount LEDs. And we're pairing them with custom optics. For this version, we're pairing it with a custom soft diffusion panel, so it's creating a nice, soft, even quality wraparound light that you guys have seen pretty much throughout the day here. So what we're doing here that's unique with the Astra line is it's a modular design. So you're buying the light, or you're using the light as is, and you're building it up to where it meets your shooting style. So I'll demonstrate one of the capabilities that we have. So we have modules that we offer as an optional accessory. This one is the Bluetooth module, so you can control the intensity, color, temperature from your Apple device, basically your iPhone, your iPad. And you can control the color, temperature, the intensity. You can group lights together. You can rename the groups. So you can have a couple of lights called, you could rename them to be hair light or fill light or kitchen light if you wanted to. So it's easily identifiable for you to go in there and make adjustments where you don't have to manually go up to the light and basically make that adjustment. So it's done wirelessly through your phone, and it's pretty responsive, and I'll go through that in a second here, but I'll finish talking to you about the light a little bit more, about the modularity of it. We improved upon the design, as you guys can tell. And we improved the yoke design, so we're able to house both the AC power, and you can add the battery adapter plate, so you can Hollywood the light on your shoot and basically go from there. And it's bi-color unit, so you can go from daylight to tungsten and anywhere in between. And it's got a nice wide beam that we have accessories that you can mount to the front of the light, so you can help control the spill. You can cut it so you're not getting any unused light or unwanted light spilling onto other talent or onto set walls or whatever. So let's kind of go through the pairing process, and I'll show you how responsive the Bluetooth is. So basically, as I mentioned, it's modular. So you have optional modules. So this one's the Bluetooth. We have 5-pin. We also have RJ45 modules, so you can hook them up to traditional DMX boards. So pull out my iPhone here, and you pull up the Smart Light app, which is, I need to turn my Bluetooth on. Probably should have done this before.
Your DMX is ringing.
Yeah, so it's probably important if you're on set. You definitely don't want to have any audio on, or have a phone that maybe you don't use anymore. And if you have upgraded to the new iPhone 7 or 9 or whatever is coming out next, have the old phone that you probably would have thrown out, use it for your communications, in your module, so it's not going to ring. So it's basically just a one button that you push and suppress until it blinks. That's basically taking you to the pairing process. You go to add a device, and it's scanning. It notices that it picks up the signal. Basically click connect.
Let's show that camera over there.
And it's going through an angulation now, so if you're up in a grid, it's telling you, okay, that's the light that's connecting, basically. You click pair, and you're done. So if you can kind of see there with the camera, if you guys can kind of see, you have the ability to adjust the intensity, and it's very responsive. I'll give it a couple more turns for the camera there. And then you can go in there, and you could also control the color temperature mix. So you're going from daylight all the way to tungsten. You also, if you have an issue with the fan, because they have dual cooling methods. The active cooling is basically with a fan that has a bearingless fan. It's magnetic. You could also switch that off if you need to, and that diminishes the output by about 50%. You can kind of see that there when I just hit it. So it's a pretty useful tool, and as I mentioned, you can pair lights together, and it's pretty responsive. So if you're sitting next to the DP and he is in between takes, and sometimes they want to adjust the output by about 10%, you don't have to radio somebody, or you don't have to walk up to the light and physically do it. You just pull out your phone and do it. We think it's pretty unique and saves some time on set, which our friends have told us, save time on set, you could be more creative. That's a quote from Jody, so shout out to him there. Thank you. So that's the new Astra Soft, and we'll turn down the intensity so the camera can see and the milky diffusion. That's the panel that's sitting in front there. Am I blowing you out completely? There you go. And of course, as I mentioned, I should mention that if you're connected to your iPad or iPhone, that the manual settings are going to be locked, and you cannot adjust them that way. You'd have to disconnect from your phone, so that way you can manually adjust the settings there. So that's our expansion on the Astra family. There's a whole plethora of Astras at different intensities, different outputs, and basically to hit different segments of the market. And basically with the light sensitive cameras, you may not need the output of the highest Astra that we offer. It's a matter of what you need to get your shots done. So that's basically the Astra family. Very happy to see that. And we do have grids and barn doors that I can put on and show you, or you come by the area there and you can check out the quality yourselves. Yeah.
What about this big boy?
So at Litepanels, we offer a complete solution of LED offering, basically. So we have the Inca and Sola LED Fresnels, the Inca representing the incandescent or tungsten color temperature, and the Sola, which represents our daylight balance Fresnel fixtures. And they go from spot to flood, about 15 degrees to about 50 degrees. And then, of course, they dim from 0 to 100 without any flicker or noticeable color shift. So what's great about these is you can use them on set, and also they've been widely accepted in our broadcast segments as well for studio installations. So a lot of these lighting designers are taking a mix of Fresnels with panels to get their look with key and fill and all that great stuff to really architect their lighting setups. So it can cut and shape just like any traditional Fresnel. It's built from the ground up for LED, so we're not just taking a LED and putting into a traditional tungsten housing. We have the proper thermal management that's in there with microprocessor controls for the thermals. And the Fresnel design, I think it was 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, during the light panel show a couple years ago, the presentation, he wanted to show how tough it is, so he threw it down on the ground, and it kept working. The only thing that happened was the Fresnel lens cracked a little bit, but it's plastic, so he just put tape on it, and we're back in business.
Right. So it was I was sweating a little bit because it was our product manager that helped demonstrate that ability, and it was my demos unit, so I was sweating, and sure enough, he wiggled the cord and put it in there, and it fired up, and as Jim mentioned, it did crack in half, but we brought some clear tape around, taped it up, and essentially if you're on a shoot, it'll work, right? Of course, the crack in the Fresnel can be an issue, but it won't stop your production. You can basically keep shooting and then get that replaced at a later time. But yeah, this technology is really amazing. It's basically essentially almost like a computer, because you have firmware upgrades, you have a lot of different elements to help you regulate the thermal management, because it's all about keeping the LEDs cool so you don't lose the color over the life of the LED. So it's something that when you see a fan in there, it's in there to make sure that the LED's staying consistent over the life of it, and we're taking proper precautions to make sure, because we know how sensitive sound guys can be, and we make sure we use magnetic fans. So yeah, so that's our LED Fresnel line. We go from I mentioned the daylight and tungsten mix, but we also have very small LED Fresnels from about 2-inch all the way up to our largest, which is a 12-inch. That's comparable to a 2K, and all the way down to like a 300 watt comparable light. So yeah, we're really excited to offer that, and we do have one more light to show you, and it's basically it was introduced at IBC last year, which was only a couple months ago, I would say, and it was really received well because it's a new take on a popular fixture that we introduced many years ago, along with the 1x1 that helped kind of revolutionize and set the wildfire of LEDs, and it's a new take, as I mentioned, on the familiar form of the Mini Plus, which is the brick-shaped LED that we offer, and this is the brick one light kit. And I'll just open this, and thank you for holding the mic. I know that your arm could get tired and get you a sling. I'll pull out the light here so you can see. So it's a brick one light kit. It's a hard watertight case with custom foam made of recycled material. That's familiar form of the Mini Plus. We went with the name Brick because everyone was calling them Brick already. You know, go get me a brick light. You know, so we went, hey, if you're calling that already, let's not make things let's not make anything more difficult, right? So Brick Bi-Color, as the name suggests, it's tunable also from daylight to tungsten, and no, I have a battery. Actually. Yeah, so it's got an integrated D-tab. Thank you so much, though. And so what's unique about it now, from what we've done in the past, before it was just a single color. Now we're doing bi-color, so you can adjust it from daylight to tungsten. But we also added a power button. I know it doesn't sound that fascinating, but the previous version didn't have that. It was a click to go on, and then you went from 0 to 100. So we're happy to have that on there now, so you're not losing the light setting that you set it at, and you're not having to do guesswork to get you back to where you were. So it's got a dedicated on-off switch. You have the intensity, of course, and you have the color mix. So it's using the same LED technology along with the same lensing as our rest of our Astra family. Not this sneak peek that we showed you earlier, but it's the other Astra family with the TIR optics and the surface mount LEDs. What we also have done here is we incorporated this nice rugged chassis design, which is also a passive heat sink. We're keeping the LEDs cool, right, with the fins. And what we've also done is we made this IP65 rated. So you could take it out in harsh weather conditions. It's dust tight, so you can take it out in the sand dunes. It's water resistant, so you can go out in El Nino type weather, right, which is the heavy storms. And so basically it's going to perform well for you in any of those conditions. So we think that's going to do really well. It's made to be an on-camera light, but that doesn't mean that you won't find it on bookshelves or behind a computer. Mimicking computer light for someone that's typing at, for a scene.
Very lightweight.
Yeah, it's pretty unique. Like I said, the form factor is something that I think people like working with. And in the kit, we also offer a couple of grids. I'm going to reach down and grab them. So we have the honeycomb grids, as I mentioned. They just slide up on the front, help control some spill. And then also we have the soft diffusion frame, which is using that same polycarbonate that is being used on the soft Astra here. So soften it up a little bit. I know Shamir does make a soft box for this as well for the people that are going to be using them on camera to help soften it, make a nice soft quality, beautiful, flattering light.
I'd like to point out something that your sister company, Anton Bauer, they're both Victech Videocom companies. Now they've built the PTAP right into the battery, so you don't have to have an adapter or anything to do what you're doing there.
Yeah. So Anton Bauer, as you know, has done some new things with their batteries, the digital series, and now they have the Cine series out there. And one of the things I love to see on there is that they've integrated the PTAP cable or a PTAP adapter on there, so you plug in directly. You don't need the plate. And I think it's a really added benefit. And of course, if you worked with Anton Bauer, they hold charge. They basically offer consistent voltage, and there's no spikes or anything like that. So it's really good. So they have V mount and gold mount as well. So we're happy to work well with them. And yeah, it's a great partnership.
Let's see if there's any questions for Alan. Yes. Is there an onboard battery option?
No, there is not. I know that's something that people have loved about the original brick, and we're looking at teaming up with Anton Bauer to create something that will probably take one of the, and then something I didn't mention, there's multiple quarter 20s around here. We're thinking about doing something, and it'll be good to hear maybe after I come down to my booth area, if you think that maybe we do some quarter 20 in here that kind of fixes one of these batteries on there. I know it's a little bit cumbersome, but with the original Mini Plus, it was a 9-volt battery. We're drawing a lot more power, 19 watts now, and we're getting a lot more output. So you can take this outdoors and fill in shadows and faces if someone's wearing a ball cap or something like that. So it's a little bit of that. But yeah, I'd love to talk to you more about that.
How many units can you control?
So you're referring to the Astra in the Bluetooth in the Smart Light app. So we've tested up to 15 lights. So, and you can regroup those. You can have, however, you can mix that up however you want. But right now we're about 15 lights.
And each channel would require a different iPhone, iPad, right?
No, I mean, you have multiple groups. So if I'm understanding your question correctly, if you would have multiple groups, you would control them all in that same portion. So, but if you wanted to go beyond 15, then yes, you would probably get multiple phones or multiple iPads to control different groups that are at 15 each.
Wow, that's great. Any way to control this remotely?
No, not right now, but yes, that has been thought of and talked about and debated on. As I mentioned, originally it was dedicated to be an ENG style camera light, but I love the enthusiasm to see where you can use it, and it's awesome to see when people see new tools and see how they can use it in their application. So I hope to offer something that we can offer with remote control.
Thank you very much, Alan.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.